Ryzen 7 5700. What is it about? Let's find out. Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening to you. Welcome back to JJ's PC Build. You know it is JJ with you once again. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you enjoy the video, we do much appreciate when you do subscribe. Welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds and my veteran subscribers. As always, much love to you for all that you do help and support the channel. Today, we're going to talk about the Ryzen 7 5700. I just got wind of it. I didn't think it really existed, but finding out it did exist. It's an OEM. From what I'm hearing, that, you know, I guess they got a lot of returns on OEM models, and I guess they're trying to sell it to the DIY. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a benchmark. I'm going to pull it from Hardware Unboxed because they're the only ones I've seen that pulled the benchmarks on this. So I didn't get the 5700 or the 5700X 3D because I don't feel the need for them. I know that's kind of weird, but, you know, I really don't at this point because I don't see it for my stuff. I don't really see it viable for my stuff. But for first-time buyers and everything else, you can always get a B550 motherboard and plug it into it and get everything all updated and everything else and, you know, go to town with it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm just going to bring it off to the top. I'm going to pull this one out really quick. There, so it doesn't fall. This, if you're going to get it, this is the one you want to get. Okay, right here. And I'll show you on Hardware Unboxed's benchmarks the reason why I said that. Okay, especially if you're going to run like the 4070 or the 7800 XT, you know, I would be more vigilant to tell you, even if you got the 5600X 3D or the 5700X 3D or the 5800X 3D, you know, depending on what you wanted to get. But right now, it seems like that the 5700 and the 5700X are lower in price. I got the 5700X in my system. I just showed you the box. So let's dig out that benchmark and see what we see from there in the action screen. Okay, we're just going to jump right into it. I got their benchmark right here. Make sure y'all got your drink and snacks. And y'all are wondering what this is before we get into this. Okay, we're going to go backwards. Oh. Okay, we're going to go backwards. Everybody was asking me what this is. Right here. This is something I picked up at Circle K. It was $2.50 for both cans. So if you go to Circle K and they got them, they should be 2 for $2.50. They're not sponsored. I'm not sponsoring them, you know, so I was just letting you know that I get the energy drinks from there. They're pretty good. I've been running on them the last couple days. It's been a busy week for me so far, but, you know, they're pretty good. You know, they're like, let's see, they're like 15 calories. Sodium's 310 milligrams. No sugar added. No protein. And it's got a bunch of vitamins in it. like your B6, your B12, your niacin, 16 milligrams, riboflavin, and so on. So they're pretty good. And they're no sugar. So that's even better. So if you're looking for that, that'd be good for you. But anyway, let's get back into what we were doing, to the action screen. Okay, now we're going to go from the top and we're going to work our way down to the bottom. So the 7800X3D is 181 on the high and 147 on the low. This is recent testing. i7-14700K is 159 on the high and 132 on the low. I'm showing you those two, give you some idea if you're looking for top-notch processors, or if you're looking for the 7700X. A lot of people have been talking about it, and that got 142 on the high and 118 on the low. Now the 5800X3D is right below that, and that got 138 on the high and 109 on the low. Now right below that is the 7600X. So if you're looking in between the 7600X and the 7700X for the AM5 platform, I would stay above the 7700X. If you can afford it, that would be most viable to you. 5600X3D right here. And this is thing. 5600X3D, 5700X3D. Remember yesterday on the video I told you about the 5700X3D? Look at the margins. I mean, the 5700X3D was beat on the low by the 5600X3D by 1% on the low. But on the high, it looks like they're equal. Now, that's the reason why I didn't get the 5700X3D, is because I got the 5600X3D. See, it just didn't make sense for me to go and buy something that's, you know, equal to the next one. It just didn't make sense. And I know I said it's like 3% faster and whatever, but you know, in my system, I'm getting about 3% faster. In other people's systems, they might get it equal, or, you know, I haven't seen anything less, so that's pretty good for me. So if you got that, the 5600X3D or the 5700X3D, they're fine. And the 5800X3D is just fine too. But looking right below that is the new 8700G, which that came out at 123 on the high and 99 on the low. Now, that's kind of a shocker to me. Okay, that's kind of a shocker to me. So makes me think, should I get me, you know, what should I do? Should I get another 5600X3D or a 5700X3D? Because it looks like the 5700X is way below the 8700G. So, and the 8600G, and looks like, you know, the X3Ds are above the Ryzen 9 5950X and the 5800X. So makes you wonder sometimes, do I have a fast enough processor, the 5700X? I might, you know, on this fact, but I'm still thinking, you know, it's not too bad of a processor. But the 5700, this is what we're here to talk about today, got 95 on the high and 73 on the low. That's far as Hardware Unboxed have said. And yes, I do appreciate them putting the benchmark out there. And I'm going to give all the credit to them for, you know, doing the benchmarks for today. And I'll link their video in the description below, so you all can go watch that video. Far as the 5600G, it seems to be a couple points on the high side, like 3 points low on the high side, but it seems like 1 point on the low side higher than the 5700. So, and the 5700G and the 5700 look equal. Now and we'll get into the price point when we get done with this benchmark. But as far as looking at, the 5700, I don't know. I mean, getting the 5700G, might be a cheaper bout. But, getting the 5700X, you never know. So, but from what this benchmark is showing me, the 5700 is not really a good processor. If you've already got the M4 platform and you've already got something better, then this might be like a processor that you can use for, I wouldn't even really say use for creator work or anything else. I really wouldn't. It could be that you could use it for creator work, because I use the 5600G, and where's that bad boy at? I got that all the way over here. The 5600G. I used that for 9 months. Oh, let's go back to the main screen. You guys seen the benchmarks enough, and you guys understand where we're coming with this. Okay, look. I used the 5600G for 9 months doing creator work and uploading to YouTube, doing all my videos and everything else. But it was only using the CPU part to do the H.264 encoding and all that. It was just running off of H.264. So, but it wasn't doing the AV1. I just ran off of the integrated graphics, and I ran off of the processor itself without a discrete graphics card for 9 months, just to see how good it really was. And it wasn't too bad for the 5600G. I understand everybody's like, well, what does it do for gaming? Well, it does pretty good on gaming too, but I ran it for OpenGL. Other than running it for DirectX. I wasn't really into running it for DirectX. I mainly used it for OpenGL. So, DirectX wise, I played one game on it, and truthfully, I really didn't care for it. It can game, but I just didn't want to game on the 5600G. It can game, but I just didn't want to do it. Could be that the L3 cache is 16 megs. Well, 5700's got 16 megs of L3 cache. As far as the price point, I'm going to be honest with you. The 5600G is cheaper than the 5700. 5700's $169 on Newegg. But the 5700X is $180 on Amazon. So you got the 5700 at $179, and you got the 5700X at $180. There's only $1 difference. But the performance for the 5700X is going to be way better than the 5700s. And looking at the charts, I could tell you, oh my goodness, we're gonna do something wild here. We're gonna pull you back to the action screen. Okay, now I got the good old I know how y'all like the calculator. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 5700X and we're going to type in 110. And we're going to minus that from the 95. So between the 10 and 15% difference on between the 5700 and the 5700X. So if you're getting that 15% and one's at $179, let's see, crazy, 179, and you minus that from the 180, 36, 10 to 15% more performance on the 5700X for approximately $1.36 more in cost. $1.36. So that I want you to think about. For $1.36 more in cost, you can get yourself a 5700X. For 10 to 15% more performance. Now, I can tell you the 5700, unless it comes down in price and it comes down to at least $125 or less, that's the only way it's going to make that a viable processor for the 5700 series. The 5700 doesn't seem viable right at now because it's only $1.36 away from the 5700X. So this makes this, not worth it. Because remember, the 5700X has got, what? Total of 36 megs of L3, if I remember right. And you got this one here with a total of 19. So the 5700 is not really a great processor at this price point. Like I said, until they come down to the price of $125 for the 5700, it's not worth buying at this point. And I know a lot of reviewers are going to say the same thing. For $1.36, do you really think you're going to be buying the 5700? I mean, even for better speeds, you can get the 5600, and the 5600 is right close to the 5700 with 8% difference in performance. So you got one that's 15% difference in performance, and you got the 5600 that's 8% difference in performance. And the 5600 is way cheaper. Let me do a little bit more math. Let me pull up the 5600. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go to Amazon. Oh, wait a minute. Y'all ain't with me. Let's put y'all with me here. Oh my God. So we'll go to Amazon. We'll pull up the 5600. So you get a 6-core 12 thread that's getting better performance than an 8-core 16 thread, which you can see right here. The 5600 has 102 on the high and it has 80 on the low. That's kind of amazing, don't you think? And here's the 5700. And you're looking at, what, a 7% difference between the 5600 and the 5700? And on top of that, you're looking at $134 to $135. So now you're looking at a $179 for the 5700, and you minus that from the $135. So you're saving $44 on that processor, and you're getting 8% more performance than the 5700. So you save $44 and you get 8% more performance. Do the math. I mean, it's right in front of you. I mean, this is getting better than an 8-core 16 thread? Come on. This is to where, and look, you can go up for a couple bucks more, go to the 5600X and get more performance. Or you can go and get the 5500, which it's not on the chart, but, it's $99, but 5600G is 137, and it's neck and neck with the 5700. I mean, for 137, I mean, and right there, 5700X is $180. And you got the 5700G is $170, $10 less. And you got the 5800X 3D at $307, almost $308. I'm seriously telling you all, do your math. I mean, you can even, I'm going to tell you, even this price point right here, you can get a motherboard, and you can get the motherboard and the 5600 right here. And it's a good motherboard too. Only thing I don't like about it is right there, it don't have any cover for those, but you can spend an extra $5 or $6 and get the covers for that. So you can cover the top end of the VRMs. So I really don't see a problem with that. And it looks like it's got 2 slots for M.2. I mean, it's looking like a full ATX. And it looks like it's got Wi-Fi. I mean, damn. This thing's got a lot of stuff on here. It's got a lot of stuff on there for you to play around with. That 5600 will be perfect for it. Oh my God. 7 nanometers. It's 11. Windows 11 supported. Right there. And it's got rear HDMI, DVI, and, you can read all up on that, when you want to look for the Micro Center AMD Ryzen 5 5600G or 5600 6-core 12-thread unlocked desktop processor with raised self cooler. If you undervolt it, okay, you undervolt this right here, this processor right here, and you run it with this motherboard right here, you won't have a heating issue with that raised stealth cooler. No siree. And especially you can put 128 gigabytes of RAM into it at 3200 megahertz. I run 3200 megahertz at 64 gigs of RAM, and I'm happy with it. I mean, for a low cost gaming, to make a low cost gaming PC, you can make one for less than $400. Doing it this way, you can make one for less than $400. Depending on what graphics card you pull, because that $400 is just to build the system. It's not the graphics card. So whatever graphics card you choose, that's going to be your total price. Because I have no idea what you would choose. If it was me, I'd still go between these two. The 4070 or the 7800 XT. But you can get the 4060 Ti, 16 gigabyte, or you can get the 7600 XT, 16 gigabytes of VRAM. And that's $300 and some. So you could do a system for less than $800 if you choose. But this is not about building a system. This is about the Ryzen 7 5700. Okay, from what I'm seeing, and I'm showing you guys, that price point, the 5700X is going to be a better choice than the 5700. 5700X is going to be a better choice, especially in performance and everything else. So there, I gave you some great ideas for low budget PC. If you want to build one, that's up to you. But when it comes to the 5000 series, I'm not going to knock the L3 cache, but if you get one that's 16 megs of L3 cache, you might as well go up to one that has well above 32 megabytes of L3. Okay. 5700X has got that and some. So, and you got the per core, you get the L1, and you get certain amount of cache per core, and then you got, your L2 and your L3. Okay, so truthfully, it packs quite a lot. You can get up to, total, I would say 40 megs of L3 on the 5700X. Now for the 5700, it just doesn't pack that much. It's like one half of the 5700X. So, and the price point, like I told you, for $1.36, I really don't think that, you're going to be buying something that's cheaper for $1.36 from the 5700X with having less performance than the 5700X. 5700's got way less performance than the 5700X. So I really want you all to think about that, and leave your comment below as well. So, and me looking at this, and I'm like, this is something that I'm not going to recommend to somebody right now. Okay, if the price point, like I said, was down to like $120, $125, then that would be recommendable. I don't even really recommend the 5600G, is because the price point, I think, is way too high. They should be, excuse me. Even the price point on the 5600G is way too high. Now, if the 5600G was $99, I would recommend it, but I don't, because it's way higher than that. So that's something to think about. When they start dropping the prices on your processors, that's when you start watching. If they start dropping it on one, they're going to drop them on all. That's usually how it works, but sometimes it doesn't. But I would wait a couple months before you decide to buy. But I can tell you the 5700X has been at the same price ever since I first bought it. And that was maybe 7 months ago or something like that. So it hasn't changed. So if that gives you any indication what's going on right now, I'm just giving you that little bit so you understand that if the price is not moving, then you might want to wait a little bit before you get a processor like this. Okay. Or what you can do is you can decide to go to the AM5 and get yourself 7700X. If you want to stay into the low end of the build, then, you got the 7500F, but 7700X, I can tell you, is a great processor. And from what I've seen, it clocks out really well. And if you're running like these kind of graphics cards, you'll have no problem whatsoever, You know, as long as you got the right amount of power supply, you'll have no problem with this, because this draws 200 watts, and this draws 269, 270 watts. You know, as long as you got a 750 watt 750 watt PSU, you know, power supply, PSU, power supply unit, then you won't have any problem, I don't think. I mean, I'm running this on a 750 watt power supply, my whole system on a 750 watt power supply, and I got RGB and everything else, and I'm running an AIO cooler on it as well, and 750 watts seems to be handling it just fine. So, with a lot of room to spare, maybe a couple 100 watts to spare, maybe more than that. You never know. Well, that's because I undervolted my system. So, yeah, it's going to be pulling less amount of power. So, you know, it knocks off, like, goes from 126 watts on the processor down to 85 watts on the processor. So I'm saving wattage there, you know. And with the graphics card, it only pulls it up to 200 watts. So you look at 285 watts between the two, and then everything else, and you add about another 50 or 60 watts, and then you got your system. At idle, or no, at well, that would be max. That would be pretty much max out on my system, pretty much, because I have everything set just right. So, but anyway, enough of me babbling to you all. It's past the 30-minute mark, and I'm not going to make this video a atrocious one, because it is atrocious. And the final thought that I have for the 5700, I don't see at the price point it being a viable processor for anybody that has, you know, above the 5700, you know, as far as processors or anything else. But if you're new starting out, I would recommend the 5700X for right now, but price point is not there. So don't even think about buying it. It's not going to, unless you're collecting them, that would be that would be your collector's piece. But as far as when it comes to using it for an everyday, you know, depends on if you're brand new and you want to just use it for an everyday and you're not gaming with it, then yeah, that would be okay. But as far as gaming wise, you know, it's not too bad, but it's not the greatest neither. Like I said, 10-15% better with $1.36 more, you can get a 5700X. So, but anyway, that concludes the video for today. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do. Help and support the channel, watching videos from beginning to end, and telling your friends to come on down and subscribe to JJ's PC Builds and watch videos from beginning to end and help support the channel. But until the next time and the next video, you know who it is, and we will see you on the next one.